Hi guys, and welcome back to Cute Tattooed Girl PhD. Today I really wanted to make a video about the journey of why I became a PSC, a PhD, and an EDD. Um, there's a story to everything, right? You don't wake up one day and say, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to be a doctor today. There's reasons for it. About 2015, I had already known the diagnosis of my two daughters, and I wanted the best education they could have. And so I put them in the best school that there is for in the valley, right? So I put them in the best school in California that should help or was able to help children with special needs because they had the best resources. What I read, okay? Don't always believe what you read, people. Trust me, it isn't what it's off a sod, okay? So I decided to put I have two girls that have autism. I have a mild to severe, and I have a severe autistic. I put them in. They were segregated, of course. They can't be in a classroom with other neurotypical students because, well, they're disruptive and because they have behaviors. And so I thought this was the norm. I thought this was what it was. I didn't have the education that I have now. At the end of the school year, after working with them for a year, we have what's called a triennial IEP. And that is what we do the next 3 years of, their goals and what they expect, etc. I went into the meeting very, very positive, very, very positively. Let me tell you, I went into the meeting thinking that they had shown so much progression, thinking this was going to be a very good meeting. To my surprise, it wasn't what it was. I sat down with my daughters because they were there, and my little girl at the time. My little girl was very little, probably about 5 years old, 6 years old. They didn't understand what was going on. We're just in a meeting talking. And my oldest was probably like about 11, 10, around there. She's now 17, by the way. And we sat down. I was very optimistic about, what the next, years were going to come. And being that she was 11, being going to be 12, she's going into the sixth grade. And this is where they do the sixth, seventh, and eighth grade type transition. So that's what I thought this meeting was about, transitioning and etc. The superintendent of the district, older white male, doctor in education, stood up and said, we're here to discuss the future of your students. And I said, yes, sir. And he sat back down and brought a bunch of papers out, and he said, we are really sorry, but there is really nothing that we can do for your daughters. We believe that your daughters do not belong in a public school setting. We believe that your daughters belong in an institution. As a mother of children with special needs, that breaks you. If you don't know what heartbreak is, to tell you that your kids are like not good enough, to tell you that your kids won't progress, to tell you that your kids aren't smart enough or beautiful enough or good enough, breaks you as a human being. And I remember just crying because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. There's this man telling me that my daughters weren't worth trying. And it affected me both emotionally, physically. I mean, I was sick to my stomach. As a gentleman is talking, I no longer am hearing anything he's saying. There's nothing that he said that made sense. Institutionalized was the reference. And I said, and the only thing I remember saying was like, I'm very disappointed in one of the best school districts in California. Very. I thought you were supposed to be the best. You had the best resources. There has to be more. And he said, to be honest, we only focus on the higher percentage, which floored me because he's telling me that he only focuses on his smart kids. And it's true. This school is known. And now that I've grown to understand data, they throw out the kids that aren't smart enough. They throw them to a different city that has schools that are for less intelligent students. They don't want them there. They want the best of the best. The ones that don't function, they kick them out to other schools or continuation schools, etc. And they're known for that. That's insulting in itself, right? You would think things would change, right? They didn't. At that moment, this was back, like I said, 2015. I had just started college, and I was trying to get my AA in liberal arts. I was just trying to see what I can do to educate myself, because I was really just a mom, learning. And I never thought of saying I'm going to be the next doctor, I'm going to be the next PhD, until he said one thing. When the man got up, and I said, you know what? I said, you're wrong, because all children have equal rights here, and you don't get to decide, because you're not a doctor of psychology or a doctor, an MD, to tell me where my daughter needs to be. These kids have abilities, you just got to find them. And he said, well, that's why I'm the PhD and you're the mom. If only you had the PhD or the EDD or the PSD, any of those, then me and you can have a conversation. At that moment, I realized what I needed to do. And I stood up and I was crying. I was like I was shaking. I was crying. And I said, it's not if, but when. Because that's exactly how I felt. At that moment, I decided what my future was going to be, what I needed to do, and if I needed to build my own district. So for parents who are being told that their kids aren't good enough, you do know that you can make your own district, right? Your state, wherever state you live in, you can build your own district and you can homeschool your own kids to your liking and what they like to do. It's called attainment. There's special curriculums, there's modified curriculums to teach them life skills, because some kids, and I'm going to be very honest, my 17-year-old does not do well with academics, but we're teaching her how to be socially acceptable, where she's able to go to the bathroom or able to go shopping and not run around and not form a muck. We're teaching her life skills. Life skills are important, because there's people that are not very educated that are out there in life busting their bums making a living. So that's what I decided to do. That day of the meeting, I met somebody who changed my life forever. And her name is Catherine. I won't say her last name. But she stepped outside and she said, you know what? I'm moving to a different district and I want to take the girls with me. And she helped me pick out a charter, a school that does homeschooling, which I homeschool. I'm a homeschool teacher, and help them thrive. They told me my kids would never be able to read. They read. They told me my kids were never going to be able to do simple math. They do. They told me my kids would never grow up to be anything but autistic children. They're not. They're beautiful. They're artistic. My youngest is an artist. She can draw you any character in any book and do shades and abstract art like Picasso. My oldest has a little bit more of a struggle and a road ahead of her. But she's so bright. She can read colors when she was nonverbal. She was not able to do 5 words. Now she's able to do like 300. So when somebody tells you your kids can't do it and they need to be institutionalized and they need this and they need that, don't believe them. Fight the good fight. You and your heart know that your children are not different in that aspect of being just like everybody else. They have the same equal rights as everyone else. And they have the right to a proper and adequate education, whether it's modified, whether it's different, whether it's more of a life skills type of story. Teach them to be better out in society. Teach them to be quiet when it's appropriate and to talk when it's appropriate. Doesn't have to be like you and me are talking today, but in improvement, betterment. All children are teachable. And I remember that superintendent, and I hope one day he comes across my video. And I hope he does. Because I want to tell that superintendent, because I believe he's still there. I told you when, and now I'm here. And now I am coming. For what you most feared is a person you told to hold back, to just let the system take over, and to not teach my children because they were unteachable, I want to tell you, superintendent, that you were wrong. Everybody's teachable. Everybody's wonderful. We all have things. We're different, yes, but we're not less, no. So to all parents, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, don't give up. Don't give up on your kids. There are special things we could do. And if one district don't work, and if one thing doesn't work, there's other districts that do work. Charter schools, private schools, homeschooling, if you got the time. And if you don't got the time, there's tutoring. Online teachers that come to your home, assistant technology, communication devices. There's so much out there that offer programs. Contact your regional center and ask what you can do. What are your options? And never, ever let them tell you that your kids are less because they're not as smart as the 4.0 straight A students that are neurotypical. That's the video for today. And the moral for today is that don't let anybody tell you what you can and can't do. And don't let anybody tell you what your kids are capable of doing, because they don't know your kids better than you do. As a mom of 2 autistic daughters, my positive message for today, even though this was a negative experience, is I never give up. And I never will. I've had multiple breakdowns. Like I said, I suffer from mental health. I suffer from PTSD and panic attacks, which are controlled, of course, with my counselor and my doctor. And I continue to push through for them. Because it would be hard to say life is easy. Life ain't easy. But nobody ever said that I remember somebody said life was going to be easy. They just told me it was going to be worth it. So the moral of today's theme is never give up. No matter what the obstacle is. No matter what the issue is. Learn to be accepting of what you have. And what you have, learn to expand it, learn to explore it, do your homework, do your research, and don't let somebody else tell you and navigate you how you want to teach your children. Everybody's teachable. We just need to find what their niche is, what their perception is, what their learning criteria is, if it's visual, if it's computer, if it's writing on a piece of paper, if it's art that it goes through, if it's academically that they're good at, if it's life skills that they're good at, if it's attainment, with any type of curriculum. Find it. Trust me, it's worth the fight. Don't give up. Speak up on IEPs, 504s. Don't let them tell you and don't let them bully you. Don't let them. Because they don't know your kid more than you do. Or your child more than you do, I'm sorry. And know this, as a mother, and as now a doctor, know that there is other alternatives for education. Know that a child can go to school up to the age of I think 20 to continue to have the resources such as speech and occupational therapy. You could do it online, you could do it in person, you could do it in your home. Learn that ABA services are available. Now, speaking of ABA services, there is a story attached to the ABA and my very interesting journey with ABA, Applied Behavioral Therapists. That will be my next video in the week, and I will tell you that story. And maybe some of you guys can identify. But for today, the moral, the motto, the instinctive as a mom and as an educator and as a PhD. Never give up. Don't let anybody bully you into anything. And you don't have to accept everything they say because they think they're right. Not every shoe fits every child. Not every mold is made for everybody. We're different. So find that mold that fits your child, your neurodivergent child or adult, and help them through the journey. I want to thank you guys for listening. I want to praise God that we're here for another day. And I want to thank my audience. I want to thank each and every one of you who is, either struggling or has a child that's autistic, or maybe you're going through Tourette syndrome, or maybe you're going through mental health issues. September is Suicide Prevention Month. I want everybody to know, the audience, I want everybody to know that there is hope. Never give up. Life is worth living. And life is worth trying. So with that, I leave you my heart, I leave you my blessings, and I leave you with this. If there's anything you learn from me, learn that I will never give up until I get the results that I want. So, wishing you all a fantastic evening. Thank you for listening to my educational video, my experience, and praise God. Sending all my love to all those suffering through these conditions, and hope to see you in the next vlog. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.